Today we have two special, wonderful guys with us. So we have here Wayne is leading the Activate network and also the Jesusgemeinde in Dresden. And also we have Ryan with us from all the way in Benoni, South Africa. And the special thing with those both men is that the church that Ryan is leading today, Wayne, with his wife Renee, started many years ago. So Ryan is now the leader of the fourth generation. And so it's a quite history, some years ago.
Yeah.
And I would like to ask you both the question, how was it at that time when you started the church? What was so the priority? What was the main thing you aimed for? Maybe you can tell us a bit about the church in the beginning, and afterwards I would like to ask you now, after the years, what are you aiming now? Where are you with the church, and what is ahead of you?
Great.
So maybe we can start with you, that you share some thoughts about how was it back then?
Well, Andre, I think we started off the church very much wanting it to be a family. We came out of a church which was a really good family church. It also had a vision for the nations. I had a very strong vision for the nations, so I always thought that the vision could be stronger for the nations than what it was. And when we went to Benoni, we started the church in a way that it was really a family, and it had a family feel. Small groups were important to us. It was important that we had good relationships with one another. We met in homes and we spent lots of time together. So it definitely was the family feel. And because of the strong sense of what God was going to do in my life, the nations became a very, very strong aspect of all that we were doing back then.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I'd say. And I would say raising up the next generation was part of it because we were getting lots of teaching at that stage of which churches or how many churches are there really in history that have managed to go from first generation right the way through third, fourth, fifth, sixth generation. And so it was really a heartbeat of ours that we were saying, we're starting something. We already knew that God had a plan for us in Germany, and so we're just trusting Him that this church will actually go from generation to generation to generation.
Wow, great, great.
Yeah.
So now the question is, how does the church look like now?
Yeah.
So what is the thing that you kind of heritage that you got?
Yes.
And what's coming next?
Yeah.
So what's incredible is to see, even catching up with Wayne recently, hearing what's on his heart, realizing that the foundations you put into a church really are the foundations which are going to guide that church, hopefully forever, and that Jesus is the one that builds His church. You know, it's a dream on His heart that He puts onto our hearts. It's not about the leader as much as it is Jesus is the leader, and He wants a church and a bride for Himself, you know, and He's building it, no matter who is leading. We just got to stay in step with Him. And so now, fourth generation, you know, the fourth leader to lead City on a Hill Church. It had another name in those days, but incredible to see the heart. I mean, from 3.5 years ago when we came in, already there was a deep sense of family, a deep sense of every person being looked after and loved and growing within a community, you know. So that really is a heart that's continuing. And really, since we've been there, we have seen incredible multiplication. In 3 years, we're busy planting our fifth congregation now in the south of Johannesburg. We're in Pretoria, in different areas there, and in the East Rand. In Johannesburg, so quite a few different areas we're reaching into, and we're seeing God's hand on that. You know, when our heart is for the nations, like His heart is, you just see how His grace starts flowing into that. You know, and bringing us into more. So that's been beautiful to see, and really seeing outreach teams going all the time into African countries, the nations, further afield, as well as all over South Africa. We're often hosting. That's the other beautiful thing is back in those days. That's why I first contacted Wayne. I wanted to know how did this building come about? Like I've inherited this beautiful property that's become a base for everything we're doing in the region. Like, how did this happen? And so even there, we chatted, you know. Yeah, I don't know if you want to say something about
Yeah,
that.
I would say that the property was purchased because we really felt that we needed a base, and that to keep moving around from different rented venues wasn't going to be the answer for the church for the future. And so if we managed to buy a property, this is going to help. And the idea that we need to have some breakthroughs that the next generation won't have to have was very much on our heart. So it cost us a lot in terms of effort, time, energy, faith, prayer, whatever. And so we managed to buy it. And when I was there in February this year, it was just amazing to see how the building is being used and to see that vision actually becoming something which is real. And it really is being able to be used as a base, as Ryan says, a base, because of all the things that are going on. They also obviously have leaders' times together, people coming in from the whole region there, of which he's leading, and the building is being used to host all those things. And so it's a joy for us. It's absolutely a joy for us to think about that and then to actually see it come into it become a reality.
Incredible. Yeah, I mean, leaders can come and go as the Lord leads, but these buildings, are there serving the nations and serving people for years after we go. And it's such an encouragement to have that vision for property still, for the Church of Jesus Christ. So I'm so grateful just to walk into an inheritance like that someone else paid for with blood, sweat, and tears, and yet you can just walk into that and say, Lord, thank you. There's a gift from you, but we want to use this now well. And we're busy renovating the property, busy upgrading it and opening it up and making our hall even bigger because we're hosting more and more events. So it's wonderful to see. Busy hosting a full-time discipleship school where people are coming now from all over the world for a full-time 1-year program. So those things it's just amazing. You have these visions and then years later, you don't know how it's going to go, but the Lord's hands on it, His grace is on it.